Hello, everybody. This is Nick Hammonds on the I'm just talking about what I'm talking about podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Last week is when I created the last podcast, and I just want to thank everybody, however medium you did. I want to appreciate you. I want to thank you. Please subscribe and or like to my channel, and we're going to work to make it better and better. Leave a comment. I'll make it better. I got some plans in the works, some technical improvements and or strategies. I want to make it even better, tighter, and make you entertained. I got great news. It's on. I got it. I'm like, I'm so happy. I just want to give up. I'm so happy. I missed you. I was down to my last two rows, y'all, and I was getting nervous, and I prayed, and the Lord provided, and so I got it. I've never been so happy. I mean, I'm in the store, what I'm saying, walking like I just won, a prize. I'm in there like, what I'm saying. So I just want to thank the good Lord. I want to thank everybody who allowed this to make this happen. To help this make it happen. I want to thank everybody. And so I had to buy the big roll. So I got it. 36 rolls, big baby. 32 rolls, excuse me. 32 rolls. 32 double rolls. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, I won't have to need any more in a while, but what I'm saying, I'm good right now. So thank you. I'm so happy. I think I'm gonna sleep in the bed with this tonight because I'm just so happy. I'm just gonna nestle my head. So I'm gonna put you over here to the side with. So, y'all see my shirt? This is what I'm voting for. Just want to let you know, Jesus 2020. And I saw this shirt. Actually, it was some guys selling it. They were selling shirts. You know what I'm saying? And I saw this shirt and it hit me like that's what we need for real, for real. Like, everybody caught up in the president election and everything, and for what? Like, okay, the president has a lot of power. Don't get me wrong, and has a lot of leeway, but we should know that your local and state officials have way more control and way more impact on your life than a president has by far. Okay, and I think it's lost in because of the media, the main news stations, I should say, the national networks of CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, particularly. They focus and focus and focus and focus and focus on that. And I mean, you would think there was no other news going on in the entire country. This has been going on for years. And I've been told that the whole, that presidential election and the doom and gloom message that they put was, kind of idealized after September 11th because the ratings went through the roof, is what my understanding. And so they associated, well, okay, if we talk about doom and gloom, people will tune in. You got to remember, that these news networks are, in fact, entertainment networks. They are actually not really news. They call themselves news, but if you listen to them, what do you hear? You hear opinion. They will tell you this is our opinion. That is not news. And the lines have been blurred at this point. I'm personally sick of it. I'm personally so tired of watching a debate, let's just say. And then at the end of the debate, they say, so-and-so won. Well, I mean, I'll decide who won. I mean, you can't just tell me who won. You know what I mean? They're like, well, so-and-so won because of this and this and that. And this person lost. No, I decide who wins or loses. So anyway, bottom line is, it is. I would caution people to not watch too much news of any slant, and to remember that Jesus is a shoo-in to win 2020 and every other election to the end of time. Okay, because Jesus is always in control. And so I just want to remind people that, and I have to remind myself, so I like the shirt, Jesus 2020, you know what I'm saying? Get you one. So, as far as politics is concerned, there are some things that are going on right now. Not much though. The whole coronavirus has, um, I think, really put everything to a stop, right? And I've been wondering, what is the reason for it? I believe everything has a reason, and I believe that reason is from God. And so I guess what I'm asking or thinking is, why did God allow this to happen? Why did God allow the coronavirus to be in existence and to spread and to lock everything down, the governments respond the way they did? Why did all of this happen? And you could say, well, some man in a laboratory made this and all of that, and that may or may not be true. I don't know. I don't think so, but it may or may not be true. But either way, God had to still allow it. And we got to be careful, I think, not to give man too much credit. Even if some folks was in the lab messing with stuff, they still still gotta allow it. Now, that is my understanding that the coronavirus got started from some Chinese people in Wuhan province eating bat. I think a bat soup, to be particular. And I'm just gonna have to say this. We're gonna have to tell the Chinese people to. I love Chinese people. I love Chinese food. You know what I mean? Great food. I like it. But listen, y'all gonna have to hold off on the bat. You're gonna have to hold off on that. And I think was it the bird flu, the swine flu? Um, every couple of years seems like some disease jump off because somebody eating something nasty. All right, look, man. I think the United Nations, United States, everybody around the world gonna have to come together and tell China to stop eating nasty stuff. Stop it. Put it down. Just say no. No more bat. Get rid of the bat. All that nasty stuff. I mean, just put it all down. Let it go. Okay? I understand you got traditions and all of that, but come on, man, that stuff is nasty. Look, man, I understand. Okay, back in the day, you didn't have food and stuff. I understand you had to eat whatever you can get, but now today they got farms and stuff, science. Okay, so stop eating bat, man. That's nasty. Everybody knows that nasty. I mean, it's nasty. You eating it, but it's nasty. You like, I know this is nasty, but I'm gonna eat it anyway. But that's nasty. You know what I'm saying? Stop doing that. It's like chitlins. Stop. Okay, it's the same. Stop it. One day a disease gonna pop off. It's gonna be the chitlin virus. It's gonna get y'all, and y'all gonna be like, oh, we should have known better. See, now I'm telling you now, stop eating chitlins. Stop it. Stop eating nasty stuff. Okay? All right? That's not cool. Because you affecting other people, right? So one day it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen probably in Alabama, Mississippi, or something like that. Somebody gonna be eating a pot of chitlins. They ain't gonna clean it right, and it's gonna it's gonna pop off, and you're gonna see them. We're gonna be right back in the house buying toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody ate some bad chitlins, right? So before you eat, think. Okay, I'm gonna get another shirt. Say before you eat, think. Stop. We need to send those t-shirts to China, especially send a whole truckload of t-shirts to China. Don't eat nasty stuff, and it's gonna be in Chinese letters, Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever. Stop eating that nasty stuff. Stop it. So, now that I got that off my chest, you know what I'm saying? I miss basketball. I'm a little down about that. Really trying to fill the gap. As I talked about last week, I was looking at Netflix and Hulu, Amazon, Apple TV. I even signed up for, once again, I give a shout out to T-Mobile. T-Mobile is, if you don't have T-Mobile, listen. Y'all slipping. T-Mobile is the truth. T-Mobile announced last Tuesday that all their customers, or at least most of their customers, you get YouTube Premium for free for 2 months. Now, what is YouTube Premium? YouTube Premium is basically you get rid of all the commercials. So you have no commercials when you're watching YouTube. And I can remember, like probably many of you, when YouTube I guess started, when I started watching YouTube, there was hardly any commercials. You could just watch YouTube, right? But now there's so many commercials, and it's annoying. So the service, I got it. I hooked it up. Works awesome. You also get access to the YouTube created shows, original shows that they made. One of which I've seen part of it before, and I definitely want to finish it. And that was the Karate Kid spinoff. Cobra Kai is the name of it, and I think they're up to season 2, maybe more. It's awesome. If you haven't seen it, you haven't checked that out. You got to check it out because that show is awesome. It picks up right after well, it picks up like 30 years later, right? But the first scene you see is, when from Karate Kid, the first one, Karate Kid 1, when Danny was in the ring, and he had got his leg broke, right? And he put him in a body bag. You remember that whole scene. And then he said, so then he pulled up the crane, right? And he did the crane and he, bam, kicked him in the face. That was it. And then you see the guy on the ground and it scroll out. And then it's like 30 years later, right? So it's like those two dudes, right? You got the Karate Kid, and then you got the dude that got crane kicked in the face, right? So now everything is flipped. I'm not going to tell you the story, but I'm going to tell you just a quick synopsis. Everything flipped. So Danny is the man. He's the man right now. From then on, actually, he crane kicked him into success, right? And the other dude is a loser, basically. So it's like bam, and it's like a different perspective. Same two actors. Okay, awesomeness. Need to watch it. I think you can watch a free trial of it, so you can watch whatever episodes they have. But check it out. And I think Danny, the dude that played, I believe his name is Danny. I forgot his name. He was in Cousin Vinny. That dude, whatever that dude's name is, but he actually, I think, directed it. So it's pretty awesome. Really good. Surprisingly good show if you haven't seen that. So I give that high marks. Haven't seen season 2, but I suspect it to be great. I forgot to talk about last week that I got Apple TV. If you haven't gotten Apple TV, don't worry about it. Apple TV, it's one of those things, like, I think Amazon is kind of like that too, Amazon Prime, where like you can watch shows, like they have shows, original shows, but it's more like a marketplace. So like through Apple TV and Amazon Prime, you can get to Hulu, for instance, right? So it'll show you a movie, you click it, like, oh, you gotta have Hulu, or you gotta have this or that or whatever. And I'm like, I got this for that. I want to watch the movie. I don't want to go this and then go to that. I could have just went to that, right? I could just went to Hulu. Why do I got to go to Amazon Prime then go to Hulu? It don't make any sense. So Apple TV is the same way, and I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to kind of create like a little marketplace, and you just go here, you can see everything. You don't have to go out of one app into another app. But I don't want to do that. So, because then that means I got to buy, in order to get the full access, I got to buy all the subscriptions, and I don't want to buy all the subscriptions. I got too many now, right? Anyway, they do have a few original shows that I have found. It's kind of hard to navigate to even find it. Everything you click, it's like, oh, you got to have a subscription. Oh, you got to have a subscription. So it's kind of annoying. But I watched the show. I've watched more than half of the show. It's called Truth Be Told. And it's got a lady. The main character is, she was on the Help. I think she won an Oscar from that, and I can't remember her name, but she's in that. She's the main character, and she is basically a podcaster, and a famous one, as I hope to be. And she basically writes about this story where this dude killed his family, and she got him locked up. Like the whole society basically tuned in to this story, and the public sentiment said this boy is guilty. So this boy has been in jail since he was like 17 years old, been in prison for like 15 years. And now she's facing some evidence to say that maybe he was innocent. And so now she's trying to right the wrong, and she's digging into it, investigating, putting it on a podcast and saying, okay, who else is suspects and stuff like that, and having to deal with this young man and and his family. And it's pretty good. It's challenging, and I think it's also, I think, it speaks to, I think, what I see today, in that there seems to be a rush to judgment from the public about cases, about, be it criminal or civil. And it's bothering me, though. Um, you know, I think it started with OJ. Okay. OJ Simpson's trial, the first trial, um, was, you know, big in the, everybody, kind of had their side, uh, frankly, a lot of white people thought OJ was guilty. A lot of black people thought OJ was, uh, he was not guilty enough, as to say. Um, I think, I don't know. I don't know if he was guilty or not. I'm just saying, I don't know. But I do, think that, from then on, at that point, it was like, oh man, from now on, if you are, especially a famous person, particularly if you're somebody who kind of upholded good values, it seems, and particularly if you are um, black, African American, man, particularly. But no, not just that, because I mean, they put Martha Stewart in jail. You know, I couldn't believe they put Martha Stewart in jail. I said, ain't no way they finna put Martha Stewart in jail. Not Martha Stewart. They might put somebody in jail, but they ain't finna put no Martha Stewart in jail. They put Martha Stewart in jail, Jack. So I knew they wasn't playing. I knew they wasn't playing at all when they put Martha Stewart in jail. You know, but the public sentiment is like, okay, this person must be guilty. And then it built up. It built up with Michael Jackson, and of course, even later, we got into Bill Cosby, and and so forth, and all these other people, stuff like that. And listen, like I called in the radio show, and I said, listen, we have a court system for a reason. Okay, we're not aware, we're not privy to all the evidence. They giving you sound bites, and you got formed your opinion, but you don't really know the evidence. And furthermore, we have a court system for a reason. What I think we are doing today is really no different than the lynch mobs of the past. I mean, because if you look at the lynch mobs of the past, pretty much it was the same story every time. It was a black man who, quote unquote, whistled at a white woman or did something inappropriate to a white woman, and the allegation, right? People believed it because they wanted to believe it. They believed it, and they acted upon it outside of the court system, right? Out and in some cases, the court system was complacent on purpose to allow for a extra court, if you will, extra sentencing, and that is dangerous. And I'm leery of that, because it's like every time something pops up, everybody got their opinion, and they got now the latest things are R. Kelly and still Bill Cosby to a little bit. He's still in the news a bit. I'm of the opinion, based on the evidence that I know that came out during the first trial, because if you recall, there was a second, it was a mistrial, ended in a mistrial, and I heard a juror say from the first trial, and I found it on YouTube, and this was he was talking, so I didn't see him, but I could tell that it was a older white male, probably 50, 60 years old at the least, and I could tell that he said, I could tell that he was genuine. And he said, listen, man, I couldn't convict him for that. He said that that apparently the lady, Miss Constance, Andrea Constance, who was the person who went to court, all those other women with statute of limitations was not had passed, so or was in fact so that they could not really do anything about it. So it was Miss Andre Constance, and I think there's somebody else that's coming up, because said they were a minor at the time. So I think that case is actually still coming up, FYI. But Andre Constance had already received a payout, if you will, a settlement from Bill Cosby, and part of that settlement was, she you don't talk, and she basically went against that and said, yeah, he did something to me or whatever like that. Now, that's the backdrop. The man said that, according to the evidence, right, she didn't know the day and time. She didn't know the day when it happened. She changed. She said one day, changed another day. Okay, that's acceptable. I understand that. You know, things you can't remember everything. I get that. Not a problem. However, when she said the date happened, okay, years and years after that, you know, she called the man. She called him 70 times. 70. 70. 70. Okay, listen. I'm not casting judgment. I'm just looking at things objectively. All right. Now, people I like don't call me 70 times. Ain't never called me 70 times. 70 times. My mama ain't called me 70 times, right? In the last couple of years. It's 70 times. Okay. If somebody call you 70 times and come to visit you and ask for tickets for their parents after they have assaulted you in any way, at what point do we say that this person just liked it? I mean, I listen. I'm not condoning anything, you know, assault or anything like that. I'm just saying some people into crazy stuff, and all I'm saying is, at what point, just because you are a woman or just because you say you are a victim, I mean, we got to be, as a society, we need to step back and think objectively, and we are not thinking objectively, I believe, today. Okay, you call somebody 70 times, that is cause for a second look. Now, I looked for that video. I found that video. It was on some MSNBC or something like that. And it's very hard to find that video. They show other jurors for the second trial or whatever, and they put them up and they had their faces up there and everything like that. But this juror for the first trial, you couldn't find many jurors of that trial, and it seemed to me like there was a bit of an agenda. They did not push, I thought, an equal footing as far as the depiction of the case and the evidence. More importantly, the evidence, not what you feel, the evidence. I heard it from Lecrae, the rapper. You know, feelings ain't facts, and that is a fact. Feelings are not facts. So I think we as a society need to get that together. Speaking of that, I got to go back to OJ real quick. That second trial was was that just a continuation? Was that just like round two? What happened? I don't even know what happened. Like, he just, like, OJ, I thought you got off. I thought you did it. You did it, right? And then all of a sudden he back in court. Like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And you know it was connected because I'll never forget. I was tuned in. Wait, speaking of that, do y'all remember where y'all was when the first OJ trial, when they gave the verdict for the first OJ trial? Do y'all remember where you were? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of one of those events, right? It's like where you were in September 11th, or where you were when Kennedy got assassinated, or where you were when OJ got off. You know what I'm saying? Where were you? You know what I'm saying? I remember where I was. I was in school. We didn't even go to class. The teachers and everybody was tuned in, watching it. And I'll never forget when they said Orenthio J. Simpson is not guilty. Everybody was like, well, we was all happy. I don't know if you was happy, but we was happy. But anyway, second trial, the first thing the judge said, this has nothing to do with the first trial. Well, why do you even say that? The fact that you said that means that you thought about it. So it sounds like there was some get back going on. And just got to put that out there. But OJ out. He chilling, playing golf. He on Twitter doing videos and stuff like that. So I say go OJ. I don't see no evidence. The court said he's not guilty, then you're not guilty. You know. So what I'm saying, just saying. I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying. You know, go back to the whole argument. How you gonna kill two people with a knife? Yeah, I mean, two grown adults with a knife. I know you've heard this, but you killed two grown folks with one knife. I could see if you could like throw the knife, you know, like they do on TV, like, you know, you hit him and get him in the head. You know, I get that. You know, you throwing knives or something like that, but it wasn't like that. He's just out there. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. He ain't out there like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but who knows? We all, you know, the truth will come out eventually. So, but anyway, so back, I digress, man. I want to talk back about, you know, the Apple TV. Apple TV, I'm going to rank it. Apple TV out of 10, I'm going to give it 1.5. I'm gonna give it a 1.5. The show is worth watching, but it ain't worth buying just to watch that show. If you happen to have a new Apple device, I think it's free for a year. So if you could do that, watch that show. I recommend that show. 1.5 as a product. As a show, truth be told, I would say that it would probably be about a 8.5. Truth be told, I give it an 8.5. Now, moving on to the next, Hulu. Hulu is basically owned by, in part, Disney and I think another network, actually. And so, if you notice, it's a bunch of it's TV shows that they simply put on there, and they do have some original content that they make, but by and large, it's basically a repository for shows that are on cable, essentially. And so, once again, I've not watched it because I'm not really interested in many of the shows that are on TV. So I haven't watched it. So I have no mentions today. As a whole, for the app, Hulu, and the service, it has some benefit. I mean, there's a lot of shows, a lot of game shows, a lot of just shows in general, and movies that you can watch on it. You probably have seen them all before, but maybe if you want to watch them again. So I would give it a 5 out of 10, and that segues into the Disney Plus one. It's very similar. It's just that it's all owned by in the Disney. It's exclusively Disney stuff that are PG-13 and below, and that's the key. Hulu still retains certain things that are above PG-13 because Disney wants to keep its image. But you got to understand, Disney owns ABC, ESPN, and they own I believe the library of Fox now. So all the things that Fox owned, they bought that. If you call that merger, and so they own a ton of stuff. And so, just keep that in mind. If you have a small child, Disney may be the way to go. But I really don't. And I do have a small child, and I don't really give it high marks. So as of right now, I would give Disney a 5 out of 10 as well. Like I said, high marks for The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is a pretty cool show, and they are definitely doing a season 2. So high marks for The Mandalorian. So I give them a 5 out of 10, but the Mandalorian I give a 8.5 to The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Definitely check that out. Once again, you can get a free 1-week trial of Disney Plus, so you can check that out and do whatever you got to do after that. Now, the next thing, of course, the big dog, Netflix. Netflix is still the king of the hill as far as streaming services is concerned. Everybody knows that. I mean, come on, it is what it is. Netflix, wonderful shows. This week, I haven't really watched much Netflix. I have been watching a few African movies on Netflix. I like, try to get, my culture up. So I watched some African movies on Netflix this week. So I watched a few of those. The Wedding, I think 1 and 2, they're pretty good. Interesting. And it's always good to see, different perspective outside of Hollywood. Another good show. It's a British show. It's I think a standard British TV show that they are now putting on Netflix, and that is called Father Brown. And Father Brown is basically Father Brown. Oh wait, let me give you the marks for the African show. So the African Wedding 1 and 2. I give it a 6.5. Both of them 6.5s. Good show though, excellent show. And there is another. In fact, there's a couple of new African Netflix made movies. One of which is a superhero, and I forget the name, but it's a superhero. I might have to look that up. It's a superhero, and basically can feel no pain. It's a South African show, and he can feel no pain. And I will put that in the comment what it is. But it's a South African show. It's pretty awesome. But back to Father Brown. Father Brown, it's a very interesting show, and I see why it's been so popular because I think they're on like season 6. Although I will say that it seems to digress as the seasons go on, in my humble opinion. But Father Brown, he's a priest. He's a Catholic priest. in 1940 England. This is right after World War II. Right after World War II, and the country is still kind of really reeling from the war itself. And Father Brown essentially is a priest, and he's dealing with in this little small hamlet or whatever you call it. And he's also a private investigator. So people come to him, and he's like digging into the stuff, and there's tension between him and the police force, and he's walking the line between both being a clergy, a priest, and solving the crime. And essentially it's a whodunit, and you're trying to figure out who did it. And for the first season and a half, you cannot tell. At least I wasn't able to tell who did it until the very end, which is what I like. I hate to watch a whodunit when I know who did it off the top, right? So I appreciate that they did a good job of trying to cover up who did it, and you thinking this person is that person. You cannot figure it out, but it all ties together. It's an excellent show, and so I give that high marks for the first season and a half. I would give it a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Father Brown. So that's all I got for Netflix right now. And of course, Netflix, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's the best by far streaming channel out there, without a doubt. So that's all I got for this week. Stay tuned, because next week, what I'm going to do, what I plan on doing, Lord willing, is I'm going to look at a couple of new streaming services. First, I'm going to look at the African shows on Netflix, and then I'm going to look up, I believe DC has one. That's DC Comics. They have their own streaming service. I want to check that out. I heard some good things about that. And I also want to check out maybe like Crackle or something like that. So stay tuned. Stay live. Please leave a comment. I appreciate you so much for tuning in and listening. It will get better. Stay tuned. Do not despise small beginnings. God bless. Y'all have a good one.